Today we're going to take a look at some old free response questions that deal with implicit differentiation. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this 1995. All right, consider the curve defined by negative 8x squared plus 5x y plus y cubed equals negative 149. So here they want us to find dy dx. Sometimes they say dy dx equals such and such, and they want you to verify it. Key here is work. All right, all your work must be correct throughout this when you are writing it. It doesn't matter if you come up with the correct answer. It matters the work in between, and can you arrive at the correct answer. So here we go, implicit differentiation from yesterday with respect to x. So here we go, negative 16x plus. Several of you are going to mess up right here. Don't forget that is the product rule. 5x, derivative of y is dy dx. Now let's finish the product rule. Keep the y and then you can times it, keep the y and then you can times it by 5, okay, plus. All right, now I can move on to this term, 3y squared. And then what's the derivative? And actually, I've forgotten something here. When I take the derivative of y, dy dx, all right, and the derivative of the constant is 0. Now, to find dy dx, make sure we put the dy dx on the same side. I'm going to go ahead and factor it out. Okay, so the 5x comes out, and then the 3y squared. And then on this side, remember when you move it to the other side, it changes sign. So that's going to be a positive 16x. And this is going to be a negative 5y. There we go, from that one. Okay, our last step is to divide. So dy dx, and make sure you say dy dx equals. All right, 16x minus 5y divided by 5x plus 3y squared. Make sure you're in your work, if you say that you're dividing by something, you divide both sides by it. So if you're actually going to show the division of this parentheses, make sure you just don't divide it here, you divide it on the left-hand side as well. So here's the answer to A. Get in the habit, we don't want to circle our answers. Okay, just leave it exactly like that. And we may need this later on. Now, we want to write an equation for the tangent line to the curve at the point for negative 1. Well, a lot of these questions may come from the part before. So part A, for a tangent line, I need a slope. Well, the slope's going to come from dy dx, and we're doing it at the point for negative 1. Okay, so dy dx at the point for negative 1. Okay, be careful. 4 is our x value, and then negative 1 is our y value. All right, this notates that I'm plugging it in, just so you know. So 64 plus 5, that's going to be a 69 up top. All right, 20, and that's 20 plus 3, which is 23. And we know this is 3. So, and if I go, it says write the equation. Okay, so you probably get a point here for this. All right, but then the equation is the final answer. So y minus, it's going to be a plus 1 equals 3 and x minus 4. All right. Now, let's look at this right here. Part C, there is a number k so that the point 4.2 and k is on the curve. Using the tangent line found in part B, approximate the value of k. Well, this is the point 4.2 and k. 4.2 is the x value, k is the y value. So what I can do is, in part C, I want to use this tangent line that I wrote. Okay, and again, that's 4.2 and k. And I want to solve for k. So k is going to be the y, and x is 4.2. All right, so this is k plus 1 equals, this is going to be 3 times 0.2. 3 times 0.2 is 0.6. And now I'll subtract 1. So k equals negative 0.4. So I found that k value right there. All right, moving right along. All right, part D asks us to write an equation that can be solved to find the actual value of k so that the point is on the curve. All right, so we want to write an equation that can be solved to find the actual value of k. Well, here, this is just telling us our x is 4.2. So if I take my original equation, I can plug in 4.2 in for x. Just leave our y, or actually our y is going to change to k. All right, and you can leave it like that on the AP exam if you want to. So it's negative 8 times 4.2 squared. This is negative 141.12 plus 21k plus k cubed equals negative 149. This is an equation you can use to solve. All right, and part E asks us to solve this value for k. So if I'm going to solve this now, this part, everything else can be done without a calculator, but this part we're going to need a calculator for. So if I go into y equals, I don't need to solve anything. I can just leave it like this. All right, and then I put negative 149. So put one side in and then put the other side in. Okay, I'm going to say zoom 0. Hopefully that's going to catch it. I don't know. I might have to change my domain. I might have to change my x values. I'll see when it comes across. All right, if you want to go to your window, you notice that it's really large. I don't really need that to be so large because all I want to know is where it crosses negative 149. Okay, so here I'm going to change this. That zoom fit didn't quite work. So I'm going to say negative 155 and then I'm just going to put 0. All right, and it's hitting right down there. I just want to find that intersection there. So second, trace, 5 for intersect, 1, 2, 3. And we figure out that k value is negative 0.3 or actually 373. Or you can just keep going on. Now, remember, for the AP exam, you have to round to 3 decimal places. You can do more, okay, but at least has to be 3. If all you did was negative 0.37, you're incorrect. So negative 0.373 is fine, or negative, you can even truncate it and say negative 0.372, and that's fine as well. All right, we're going to move on to the second word problem. With these word problems, you have to be willing to stick with it. All right, so we're looking at 1998. It's the AB6. And a lot of these ABs can be on both the AB and the BC exam. Okay, now this one's a little bit different. Instead of just finding dy dx, they're saying show that dy dx equals this. That means dy dx does equal this. You just have to verify it. So definitely your work is very important here. Okay, so our original equation is 2y cubed plus 6x squared y minus 12x squared plus 6y equals 1. All right, so let's do the implicit differentiation. So this is going to be 6y squared dy dx plus, now be careful, product rule again, 6x squared dy dx. Now finish the product rule. we're going to have y times 12x minus, that's going to make 24x plus 6 dy dx. A lot of times you get 1 point for doing the implicit differentiation on a section. Now we need to combine them all together. A lot of times I like to just say dy dx equals, not equals, but go ahead and factor it out. I've got this term, 6y squared plus 6x squared, and then I have this term, which is a 6. All right, equals. Everything that didn't have dy dx, I need to put to the other side. So this 24x becomes positive. All right, and then this becomes 12xy. And then dy dx equals 24x plus 12xy over 6y squared plus 6x squared plus 6. Now, you're going to notice, and you know what? That should be minus, because when I move this over, it's negative. All right, and I kind of found that out, that I made that mistake because it says a minus here. Now, I got another difference. What's that difference in this answer and this answer? What's happened? Okay, they take out a 6. Also, you want to rearrange it so it looks like the way they've got it. So when I take out a 6, I want to make sure I set it equal to what they told me to show. And make sure all your equations stay equal throughout and that it's mathematically correct, because that's very important as well. All right. Write an equation of each horizontal tangent line to the curve. What does that mean by horizontal tangent? If I have a horizontal tangent, think a horizontal line. What's the slope of a horizontal line? The slope is 0. So think about, slope of a tangent line is dy dx. So dy dx equals 0. Whether you were able to get this or not, you should be able to answer B, okay, because they gave you dy dx. And what I can do is, in part B, I set dy dx equal to 0. Well, the first step I want to do is multiply by the denominator. Well, think about it. When I multiply by the denominator on this side times 0, it goes away. All right, so here, really, that equals 0. Now think about factoring this. That is going to be, I can factor out a 2x and I'm left with 2 minus y. Well, when does this equal 0? Well, it's when each of the factors equals 0. So when 2x equals 0 and when 2 minus y equals 0. So when x equals 0, and then when y, think negative y equals negative 2, so y equals 2. Now, they ask us to write an equation of each horizontal tangent line to the curve. Okay, so here you've got to find the y value, and here you want to kind of find the x value to this. Okay, so the y value, when x is 0, I want to take the original equation, the 2y cubed plus 6x squared y minus 12x squared plus 6y equals 1, and I want to find when x equals 0. When x equals 0, both of these become 0. So I'm left with 2y cubed plus 6y equals 1. All right. Well, here, if I go to my calculator and I find 2x cubed plus 6x. Okay, whoops. All right, when does that equal 1? All right, I'm just going to say zoom 6 instead of zoom fit. Let's see if I can find that y value. All right, second trace, 5 for intersect. All right, And that value is 0.165. We'll just say 0.165. Now, let's think about this for a second. If it's a horizontal tangent, okay, it's a horizontal line. How is a horizontal line graphed? Well, it's just y equals, and it's going to be both of these. I don't really need to find the x value here. All right, so these will be our answer. And again, don't box it, just leave it through that. Okay, and lastly, on this one, we have a part C, and it says, the line through the origin with slope -1 is tangent to the curve at point P. All right, find the x and y coordinates of P. So the line through the origin, okay, so we know there's a line through the origin. The origin is 0, 0, with the slope of -1. Is tangent to the curve at point P, so point P. All right, and we've got to find x and y. So, now think about it. If it's going through the origin, all right, this is just y equals -x. All right, so we've got to find x and y. Well, here, the slope to the tangent line is -1. All right, well, remember the slope is this right here. So when does that dy dx equal -1? All right, take a second. See if you can figure out what we're going to do here. All right, if you said multiply each side by the denominator, you would be correct. And what's going to happen is I'm going to be left with -x squared minus y squared minus 1 equals 4x minus 2xy. All right. Well, here we have this equation here. Can I replace y with -x? All right, let me go clean this up. So -x squared minus, this is going to make x squared minus 1 equals 4x. And this makes -2x squared. Okay, if you notice, we're going to have a -2x squared on each side. All right, and eventually those just cancel. Or actually, this makes a positive 2x squared. Sorry. All right, it did not cancel. So this is -2x squared minus 1, and this is plus. All right, and what I can do is I can combine them together, and really I've got a quadratic. All right, in this quadratic, I can actually solve by factoring. All right, and when I said that equal to 0, 2x plus 1 equal to 0, x equals -1/2. Now you just need to find the y value. Well, guess what? Y equals -x. So y equals negative of -1/2. Y equals positive 1/2. So x equals -1/2. Y equals 1/2. So P is this right here. And again, please do not box it. That one you had to really think outside the box and what I could do with this right here. So notice what we're doing, and be careful, it does take a little bit of time to do the FRQs, the free response questions for AP, but be able to stick with it, show all your work, and explain when necessary.